All right, here we are. Happy Monday. Today we're talking about some skills. I just sounded like Canadian
Said
there. About. We're talking about some skills that we think might help your, I was going to say leadership, but really anything.
Yeah. Want some skills? We're going to give you some.
Yeah. I think these things are important for hair pros, business owners, but also anybody that's just looking to be a better person, I guess, would benefit from working on skills. So,
agreed.
So we'll dive into a little bit of Jen's apprenticeship and how that's going, or your,
if you're interested,
or your mentorship. She's your apprentice. So,
yeah, she's my apprentice.
A mentor and the mentee.
Yeah.
So let's start with some skills. And the first one I had on here was virtuosity.
Oh,
and I think that's...
Please define.
So virtuosity is just when you do common things really well.
I like that.
And I think in this business it gets forgotten because there's just a race to get to all these advanced techniques and all these advanced styles of cutting hair and coloring hair. And if we just focused on the basics and getting those down, you'd be better than 99% of people out there.
Agreed. 100% agree on that one.
So that might be for someone that's coming out of school. There's so much shit you can get caught up in.
Yeah, it's very easy, especially where social media has become a platform of what everyone else is doing, and they're trying to reinvent the wheel or rename something when, yeah, your basic skill set, work on that, your foundation, get it super strong, and you'll kill it.
Yeah.
And then if you want to try new patterns or whatever, go nuts. But most results are going to be the same or similar.
Yeah. I think coming from the gym background, we worked a lot on all of your basics, and it's never like fun to work on a push-up or an air squat.
Right.
But when you explain to people and it resonates, or even better, when they can see that by doing those foundational moves really well, it helps all of your other exciting movements. Same thing with hair.
Absolutely.
Same thing with business.
Well, it also helps you to, when you do see something new, you understand
it.
And you could better apply it if it was something like, oh, I've been looking for a technique like that. Like, it's been missing in my toolkit, and that helps me so much. Like, you can have an opinion and understand like what's going to happen if you do start to use a different skill set. And you can also realize like, nope, the one I'm doing works just fine for me and is like doing the best it can for me.
Something that I say all the time is to learn, like when people ask about cooking, because I cook a lot, and I'll say, learn techniques, not recipes. And that will help you understand. Right. So instead of learning how to make, say like beef stew or pot roast or something like that, instead of learning, somebody's famous world recipe or whatever food blogger you follow, learn how to braise. Mm-hmm. Now you can braise anything, not just
you
beef,
understand, why that technique is
correct. So when you look at a recipe or when you look at a completed meal, you can work it backwards and go, oh, if I just braise this will happen. Correct. Because it'll get this effect. So same thing in hair. When you get out of school, or even, it's nothing to do with school, just that's when you're newer, obviously.
Right.
And it can be overwhelming because you see all these things and you don't understand them. And people will try to give you like hacks and tips and tricks when in reality you could figure it out on your own if you were ready to. Mm-hmm. If you had the foundation strong enough, you can look at something, or you can understand a lot more why somebody was doing this way.
Yeah.
And what you could do even different just
Correct.
Because you see it. Mm-hmm. The next thing I had on here was patience. I think
that'd be good in life.
I think we all need to work on patience, and
I would agree. And realize it's a marathon, not a sprint. For most things, it's going to
sometimes
be a marathon.
Yeah. In the long run.
But
still need that sound effect.
Let's do this later. Later is after. Yeah. And after is later. That's what our little child says.
He does say that. No, I think patience is a big one because especially in business, a lot of people think like, oh, when you own a business, that's it. You're successful, or
yeah, wrong.
Yeah, they don't know because they're not there, but you're not just successful. Your business isn't just successful. It's not just profitable just because you opened it.
Correct.
It takes work, and that work takes a lot of mistakes.
Yep.
Because that's how we learn.
And be willing to learn from those.
Right. So having patience.
I think patience is important too. Sorry, you can finish your thought.
I was just going to say it helps. It helps you to look at things that are going to take a long time and be okay with it. So something I practice. I'm not a patient person.
Samesies.
I want pizza for dinner. I want it now. I don't want to make a dough and in 3 days be able to eat it. But sometimes I will make doughs 3 or 4 days ahead of time. What does that sound?
The screen door.
Oh, sometimes I'll make doughs that have to age in the refrigerator.
Right.
And it's part of me working on patience because I want to eat them that day.
Right.
Silly example. I make a lot of pizza.
Yeah, well, you do. And
So what were you going to say?
Oh, I think with learning, you have to have patience, especially when you're first starting out. You want to learn everything all at once. You want to be able to do the hair, the lashes, the extensions, all of that stuff, but you can't learn all of it at once and be good at all of it. So you have to have patience to realize it's going to be a journey for you to slowly learn these things, work on them, get better on it, and then move on to the next skill set that you want to add into your toolkit. And patience is a big part of that.
The next one I had on here was focus, which I think ties into what you're saying a little bit.
Yeah.
You have to have focus, and I don't care how you do it. I see all sorts of examples, like you have to block out your calendar, or you have to spend one day is office work, and one day is this, and one day I'm behind the chair. You can do it however you want.
Right.
But what you need to be able to do is focus on whatever task you're actually working on. So if you're working behind the chair, you should be able to focus on just that. You have to set yourself up where you're not doing your management role stuff or cleaning stuff or whatever. And it's hard as a business owner operator, especially with a small business.
It's extremely hard.
Because stuff still has to get done. So I know you'll carve out time before or after. It's hard to do everything though, all at once. So you have to be able to focus, which is what I've already said. Anything else on?
I think it's important to be able to focus. And I do think for a lot of people, it's a learned skill. I don't think.
Well, these all are.
Yeah. This
you
one I
might
think can
naturally be better at some. But for the most part, you're going to have to work on all of this stuff.
I think if you are like, as I am, the owner, the operator, I still am behind the chair and I'm the lead educator in our salon. Like you just said, the focus.
And that's just some work stuff. You're also an educator outside of the salon. You're also a mentor to people outside of the salon. You're also on 2 boards now. You're also on, you're a mom of 3. You're a wife. Like you're a business partner. You have all these things. And
so having all of that, I think one of the things I've learned, and if you are someone in your salon who's behind the chair and trying to lead a team, when I stopped double booking, it allowed my staff to realize where are the spots they can come to me with their problems. Meaning, even if it's a formulation or whatever, like they know once I apply this color, I've now got 30 minutes, and they wait and they're patient so that they're not interrupting me. So part of being able to focus on whatever tasks at hand, whether it is being behind the chair at that moment or leading your business or growing your business, whatever it is, if you're in it with your staff, is having systems in place so that they understand when that time can be allocated for them.
That's cool.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I'm being patient right now to wait to see if we're done.
Good job.
All right. So empathy was one I had on here. This one can be tough. Understanding people and realizing that they're people. And that they have feelings, and those feelings are likely different than yours. And this will blow your mind. If you have a situation where 2 people are involved, you're probably not seeing it the same way.
Correct.
Everyone sees.
Your story's yours and theirs is theirs.
Yeah, we are only able to see through our own eyes. But the ability to connect with people and understand that, like stress. Like I know people get stressed. We have people on our team, when we do meetings with them, they get wicked stressed out. There's nothing bad happening at these meetings.
Nope.
And we generally have to take the first 5 minutes and be like, everything is cool, man.
Yeah.
Like you got to chill out. But it would be easy if you didn't care to just be like, dude, suck it up.
Yeah.
But you have to have empathy, because just because you're not feeling nervous doesn't mean that you should be able to take away from their feeling.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to cater to it either, but you
have an awareness.
Yeah, have an awareness and show some, I guess, compassion through that empathy. Compassion could be another one on this list, I guess. But yeah, empathy and just understanding that it's not how you see it to the other person.
Right.
It's rarely going to probably be like that.
I would agree.
It's rare, I would say, that two people experience something the same way.
More often, you're going to make up a story in your head that is not true as to why that's happening.
Yes.
So you're going to need to, in that case, like ask questions like, why are you feeling like that? What's going on? Because you're going to jump to a conclusion that is not going to be correct.
Right. Or maybe you'll get some good feedback. Like, when you asked me to have this meeting, I was nervous because you were snappy.
Right.
I'm like, oh shit, I was in a bad mood about something else. Nothing to do with you. Yeah. I just was short or whatever. Mm-hmm. Candor was the next one I had on here. So candor, if you're not 100% sure, because every time I try to use that word, Grammarly's like, your audience is not going to know what that means. It's just
so please define.
It's just your ability to be blunt without being a jerk.
Right.
It's your ability to be direct with people and honest. Forthright maybe is a way, but that's a kind of wordy word. So,
I like that.
Forthright. Anyways, being able to tell someone. So like Jen and I, we own this business together. When something isn't right for one or the other, we tell each other.
Correct.
And we don't try to hurt each other's feelings. Like, hey, that's a stupid fucking idea,
hey,
dummy. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm like, that doesn't really fit what we're doing.
Right.
That's not cool.
And it doesn't mean that when you have candor and you speak to someone that you're not going to hurt their feelings. Sometimes that is part of it. It's the point is that you're trying to do it without being an asshole. Like, that's it.
Yeah, for sure. You're doing it with the intent to help people. So if someone on your staff, for example, is making the same mistake over and over and you don't tell them and you're their leader.
And now you're annoyed because they're not fixing it.
You're failing them. Right. You're setting them up. Yeah. And then
it's on you.
And then what are you supposed to do? Tell them a year later, I've been letting you do that way, but that's wrong.
Oh, yeah, I've been there, done that. Yeah. Not a whole year, but yeah.
We had awful for the person.
A girl that worked for us, and her men's cuts or short haircuts, whatever, they just weren't on point. And I'm like, oh, she'll just learn. And then I'm like, she's not learning. So then I had to go and like say it. And she ended up quitting. She was just like, why did you let me go this long without like helping me? She was right. Like, I just didn't know how to have that conversation.
Yeah.
I had a business partner too. So obviously neither one of us knew how. But
just say the names.
You learn from
double dog dare you from to start name dropping all over the podcast.
You learn from those situations like, oh, it would have been better off. As hard as that conversation would have been for me, because I didn't want to hurt her feelings, the waiting was way worse. And she didn't take any of the constructive criticism. She didn't learn from it. She didn't want to grow from it, because at that point she was kind of like, F you. And that's
so I honestly don't remember the story.
The beginning of Eco.
So okay, so
a long time ago.
What exactly happened? Because I'm curious. You hired somebody?
Yep, hired her.
And there was like a year period or almost?
Maybe even a couple months. Like just a couple months and watching her work. And we were at a situation where really we're like, her work wasn't, we didn't feel it even the price point we had started her at. So it was like, you need a lot of work, and I feel like we should reduce some of these prices while we're working on it. And she was so highly offended. And she might have been doing hair for like a year. But we should have, the first haircut I saw, I should have
said no.
Addressed it in that situation. Right then I should have addressed it, but kind of waited. And it's one of those, like, I was hoping like, oh, she's going to get it. But how is she going to get it if no one even points it out to her? She thought that haircut was great. She didn't know, she didn't know the difference. And it might have taken 2 models and she would have been all set. But at this point now she had so many bad habits. It was a bigger fix than it would have been in the beginning. But it was a hard conversation to have. It was poor leadership. And it was like walking around with blinders on at the beginning of the business when you just don't even know what you're doing. So I don't know. It's just a fail. Now I address things and and do it as delicately as I can with having candor and being blunt. Like, this needs to get fixed.
I think when you don't wait, there's something there too.
Yeah.
I used to wait. I used to do that as well. And it never works out.
No, it's bad.
Because then you're
and things pile on top of it too.
Yeah, you're sitting there like just marinating in it. And you know it's wrong, but you're not pointing it out. And maybe the other person knows they have to work on something, but maybe they don't.
Correct. Yeah.
And you're supposed to be guiding them and you're not. And now you're irritated with them and you have to have a talk with them. But that's all you.
Correct.
All you as the leader. So, yeah. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Fortitude was the last one I had on this little list here. And that is just your ability to remain strong, or have courage through adversity or challenges.
That's a good one.
And yeah, our gym was named Fortitude Fitness, actually. I'm wearing the shirt today.
Nice.
Old throwback shirt.
I like throwbacks.
This one's important because we talk about this a lot, but in business, in working in any industry, you're going to have curveballs. It doesn't, as a human being, just navigating life.
Correct.
Even if you don't do anything, you're going to have challenges. You're going to need to eat. There's a challenge.
Yep.
So being able to remain, I guess, strong and stick to, I'll say, your values, because we always go back to that.
And realize there's going to be peaks and valleys, I guess, with running a business. So if you hit a low, if you stick with what you're doing, or you have to pivot in order to keep going or innovate, you'll go back up the hill. You won't remain at the bottom.
Yes, I agree. There's a dog in here now.
Oh.
Okay. So that's Fortitude. So what do we do? Like 6 of those?
Yeah.
That's good. Why don't we talk about your apprentice a little bit? Okay. That's loud. And we're back. All right. So I want to talk about your apprentice. You have an apprenticeship going on. It's pretty cool. I didn't realize how rare apprenticeships were.
Oh, well, yeah, they are. For us, a slew of different reasons.
So you've had a handful of apprentices over the years. So you've apprenticed people. They've come to you instead of going to
hair school,
cosmetology school, and they get their license.
Yes.
And each state is different, so check with your state if you're interested in this stuff.
Yes, and not all states even allow it.
Interesting. So some states don't allow it.
I think there's like 22 that allow it. That's it.
Oh, okay. So it's more rare than even I thought.
Yep, I think...
And I know we've talked about this before, so if you've heard us and you're like, Todd, we've talked about this.
Yeah. Well.
I don't always realize, like, because I don't really focus on it. So you've had apprentices that, and you've talked about this on the show too, that have been passed over from someone else. Someone else has been like, I quit. Yes. I can't take this apprentice.
Yes.
You have to take them.
Yes.
From another salon?
One was from another salon, yes.
Interesting. And so what is that?
I don't think...
Do you work that through the state?
The paperwork just switches it to the instructor, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
That was it.
So they're not starting over?
Nope. All the hours transferred. It just went from one instructor license to the other.
Gotcha.
So at the last salon I owned, we would switch off on whose license carried the apprentice. Obviously, at Hello, it's just mine.
Why would you switch off? What difference did it make?
Because we could have sort of apprentices overlapping each other. There's 2 of us, so we could both be instructors. So we would start one, get them going. They'd be almost to the end, and we could take another one on, but that one was still on the other license.
Gotcha.
So we were able to...
So it was still 1-to-1. Yeah, gotcha.
But we were able... The other one was done, so we were able to bring it on.
So you've got Emma now.
Yep.
At Hello.
We're heading into the 3rd month.
She's the second Hello apprentice, or your apprentice at Hello. And so how is that working?
Great. Each apprentice is different. I
talked about getting her either on the show or doing some content with her, because I think it's cool to maybe document some of that stuff too. She was all for it.
I'm sure it would be. So the first month of the apprenticeship, it's interesting because my first apprentice, Ava, is very different. It was during COVID. It just started. So it just was a slew of things that just were very different and difficult to navigate, right? Yeah. So this is really my first one with the world being where it is today. So what I did with Emma was month 1, have her come in. We talk about expectations and rules and what the apprenticeship looks like. So all of that is laid out. But I just kind of watch and observe her. Like, let her kind of do her thing, because I need to learn her personality. I need to learn her learning style. And I don't want to learn it from her telling me or anyone else. I want to learn it from me watching and how I can help.
Right.
So going into month 2 was pretty much, here's the expectations for this month. This is what I want to see by the end of the month. This is what you will be doing. This is what you'll be performing. And in this case, it was easy for me to see that Emma was distracted easily and got antsy easily, and pretty much wanted to be learn everything in 1 month if that was possible. Like she just was eager, right? So we had to address that learning style and how we could make that work for Emma, how we could attack things in a different way, a little more hands-on.
So that she felt like she was doing something.
Yep. And so she felt progression. That's what I thought was important for me. And it was interesting because when we went into the second month and I was like, so this is what I observed. She's like, oh, I just really thought you were so busy with like your work life. You just didn't have time to give this to me. I'm like, well, I don't know anything about you. I mean, I've known Emma since she was like 2 years old, but I don't know anything about you in a learning environment in my salon or our salon. And she was like, oh, that's amazing. So I'm like, yes, so this month will be set up for you this way. And at the end of this month, we will then sit down at the beginning of every month and I'll readjust and plan a new plan of action for the next month, depending on what the needs are and where we need to be. And this way she's part of that too, right? How does she feel? I pretty much know. She's done a few things. I now know like when she gets nervous, how she reacts to that. I understand what that looks like. I understand that we'll need to do more models that keep her comfortable before she can really work on clients because of the anxiety she has through that. I also know that once she gets through it, she does really well and feels very proud. So it's cool. And it will be different from my next apprentice.
That's all good stuff. I think even with your last apprentice, because I watched, there's definitely anxiety in the beginning just because it's new stuff. So the first time you have your hands on someone, it's
scary.
Yeah. And they get some time too, because they're spaced out. When I went to school, it was day one. We were doing haircuts.
Yeah, so I think that is...
I don't know which one's better. So they're probably both just different.
It's just different, right? So
I just got all the anxiety all on 1 hour rather than spaced out in 2 months.
Yeah, and kind of probably blacked out. Like, what did I even do?
I almost quit.
Well, yeah, Emma might have too. But it's where I could say to her, like, this is why you don't want to work on mannequins the whole time because this anxiety would be even bigger. It's where I think people coming out of school a lot of times want to be an assistant. Some, maybe they're like, I want to learn more, but a lot of them want to hide because they're so afraid that then...
Behind that title.
Yeah, so the assistant allows them just more time, they think, to watch, but yet they need to get their hands in there because that's not helping them. That's just creating a larger road of anxiety to when they finally start working on people, in my opinion.
Watching is cool, but and it has its time and place. But watching is not education.
No.
It's just not.
No. You need to...
You can't just sit in the corner and watch somebody work. And with anything, it's because you're also watching it at speed. You're not watching it... Like if you're watching someone work on clients, they're not breaking things down and explaining it. They're like flinging their combs and tools around because I make everything look easy too. A conversation with their client. They're not even focused on
it. So when you get in there, it feels like you almost have two left hands because it's just like, wait, you made it look so simple. Like, well, I've been doing it for this long.
Yeah.
Even that. So the first time Emma puts a single process on somebody, I'm like, I don't need you to consult. I don't need you to worry about draping. I don't need you to worry about anything else. I just want to see you mix this color and apply this color. That's all this task is providing. Like for your education.
Yeah, it's just one layer.
I'm not trying to overwhelm her, you know?
Right.
Yes, and then we'll add to that. And it was funny because Ava, our last apprentice, will step in and help. And she's like, why is she doing like this? I'm like, Ava, this is her first one she's done. She can't do it like that yet. And she's like, oh. Like Ava's having moments of like, oh, I remember being there. Holy crap. Like you forget the progression sometimes, but now she's seeing it and it's like, oh, okay. But you got to start somewhere. And I want to start with like really great quality work, you know?
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Any highlights or anything? What'd you guys work on last week?
We're doing root retouches. Okay. So single process application on a dang mannequin over and over and over again. That, and we're working on shampoo and blow dries on our staff. That's who she can practice on that right now.
So you have any highlights or epiphanies or anything that happened? I'm trying to get some juicy stuff for the listeners.
I don't. So
any breakthroughs Emma had?
Yeah, I think what's interesting is Emma had in the beginning of the apprenticeship because the state doesn't allow her to touch anybody for a certain amount of hours. So all the time she'd meet clients, whatever, she's like, yeah, well, I can't touch anybody. I just can't wait till I can. And so many clients would be like, until you get to that point, and then you're going to be like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. And she's like, no, I'll be so excited.
Right.
Till she got to that point and her anxiety was so ginormous. It was almost like, I don't want to do this. So
that's amazing.
It is because
it's transformation.
And yes. And she got through it and she did a great job.
Of course she did.
There was so much growth that came out of it, but it's
And probably support. I wasn't there, but I'm sure other
yes,
of our
completely.
staff were excited.
Lots of celebration. Yeah, it's neat. It's neat when she recognizes some of her progress. Like, oh wow, I'm getting better at this. Like it's very cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can end with that. I just wanted to maybe each week or every other week or whatever, we'll touch base on how that's going.
Yeah, it's something I'm very proud of. So
I know you're proud of it, and we can document it, and we can even create stuff for people if they're interested to email and get a download or something.
I'd love it if more people did apprenticeships, because there are a lot of people out there that need those.
And maybe, school's not the best fit for every single person. So,
and if you are interested, that we can break down even the growth of how this program has grown, and aspects that we've changed along the way, and learnings that I've had to make it's better every single time.
And we have some other stuff coming up too, a little teaser. We don't have to get into detail, but with some schools and different things. That
really trying to be in the community and help and learn, really, because we're learning things too. So yeah, it's very cool. Yeah,
what you're learning is you have to be proactive when you want to help people, because people that need the most help aren't necessarily going to reach out.
Right.
You've got to reach out to them and be like, I can help you with this.
Yes. And the next project was one that I started the conversation, and I think we have a meeting coming up soon to keep it going. So pretty cool. Next week.
And then there's like a business talk or a meeting or something we're doing at a school.
Yeah, we're getting on the agenda for the following school year, because that will start in September.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, let me know what I got to do.
Yeah, well.
All right. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.
Have a great day.
Bye.